Gauntlet Hangouts. We're playing Dungeon World. This is the fourth of 4 sessions of Tun Vareg. If you guys have watched to this point, you've seen some pretty heroic and I don't want to say stupid, but risky behaviors from our players, and more correctly, their characters. I've really had a fun time with this. We're looking forward to an exciting conclusion. We're in a pretty bad spot right now. We're going to talk about our characters who leveled up and our keys that we want to hit, and then we will jump right into the action. So, Ged, I don't think you took a level, but if you want to run through your keys, especially any keys that you want to make sure you turn and or that you're thinking of buying off this session.
Okay. I have the Key of the Curious. Gain 1 XP when you get yourself into trouble by tinkering with something best left alone, or when careful experimentation teaches you something profound about technology. I have the Key of the Cunning. Gain XP when you offer advice to someone and they actually follow it, or when you come up with a plan that helps you or your allies out of a bad situation. And Key of the Futurist, which I have not hit at all this entire game. Gain XP when your actions disturb or unsettle an established norm, or when your refusal to adhere to tradition creates trouble. As far as buying things off goes, I'm not looking at anything specifically. Sorry, my cat is screaming at me.
You're fine. Okay, no problem. Well then, Dear Grim, if you want to run through your keys and call out any that you want to specifically hit this session.
Sure, can you guys hear me? Okay.
It's a little quiet.
All right, I will speak up.
That is better,
so,
yeah.
Key of the Ringleader, gain 1 XP when you take the lead in a difficult situation, or when you take your advice and it actually pays off, or when someone takes your advice and actually pays off. Key of the Courageous, 1 XP when you act despite a terrifying obstacle, or when your words or deeds fill others with courage. And Key of the Judge, when you bring to justice someone who deserved it, or when you successfully mediate a conflict between parties that result in a just outcome. I feel like in a siege, there may be opportunities to hit any of those. I guess if it's turned into violence, then maybe I'm gonna look for an opportunity of Key of the Judge. I feel like things went badly, and someone deserves to pay for it.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll keep an eye for any ways that we can help you turn that. Avon, why don't you run through your keys? I'm still listening.
So far, Avon has been an unsuccessful magic user. Managed to pull off a few illusions here and there. Their Key of the Meddler. They gain XP when they use magic to change something tangible in a lasting way, or when the magic is self-perpetuating or contagious. Key of the Trickster. Gain XP when false information I've divulged has causes someone to act accordingly, or when able to convincingly masquerade as someone else. And Key of the Provocateur. XP when I spur an ally to act in a way that they would have otherwise avoided, or my words or actions drive a neutral party into attacking. And I don't think I'm actually looking to buy off any one of those so far. I'd like to see other people turn face, and I'd like to see what happens if Avon continues on their trajectory.
Okay, cool. All right, and Marquis.
Okay. I have Key of the Prideful. Gain 1 XP when you demand the respect your fighting prowess deserves, or when you teach someone who disrespected you your fighting abilities a lesson they will not soon forget. And I can buy it off by essentially getting insulted, but like not flipping out, not taking that to a duel. Which is interesting, right? I mean, that's kind of an interesting kind of character growth thing. It's like, is it going to happen? No promises. Key of the Glorious, gain 1 XP when you boast to a notable NPC of a great deed you've accomplished. or when an accomplishment comes at the expense of somebody else trying to accomplish the same thing. And I can buy that off by... It's interesting because the buy-off is I have to basically pass up a chance for glory, and then somebody else has to talk smack about me as a result. So it's kind of like I have to pass it up and then get hit with like social repercussions. People are like, you know, talking trash about me. Key the Vengeful. I get XP when you exact vengeance for something minor, or when I put myself or you guys in danger trying to pursue vengeance. So yeah, I mean, they're all like really like pretty self-centered, like super like big ego, kind of big fragile ego kind of things, you know, where she really kind of lashes out or gets angry or gets pissed and wants to fight without really much, I think, thinking about others. I think that's sort of her central thing. And the buy-off for that one is when those who have wronged you are at your mercy, but instead of killing them, I forgive them. So I really think any of those, if any of those come up and I'm able to buy them off, it would represent something significant. So I'll be looking for an opportunity.
Cool. Yeah, and I'll try, especially with the glorious one, since it's got kind of like 2 steps to the buy off. I'll try and call that out too, so to remind the characters that there's a chance to buy that off.
And to talk trash to me, basically.
Oh, I think there's plenty of that coming from Avon. Although Ged and Deergrim, if you want to talk trash too. All right. Oh, Brian, did we lose you, or did you just cut off video for a sec?
I'm still here.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to kind of set up where we left our characters, and then we'll start the action. So last we saw everybody, we were underground, under New Vareg, searching for the outlet that led to the mainland so that we could help some of our friends from the Pale Moon and or the Phoenix cohort sneak in, and thereby gaining the advantage and avoiding a lot of bloodshed. They hadn't quite found their way out. They were confronted by another party who had similar plans from a neighboring city, Tun Vareg, led by a woman who calls herself Lenecthra and claims to be the standard bearer of the king. She ended up by herself for a few minutes with our heroes, tried to trick them, and when she doubled back after losing them, she doubled back to make the final escape out of the catacombs, and Deergrim set a trap for her. And basically, our characters were lying up on a ledge as her and her guard that she reunited with passed by. They ambushed and killed, I think, 3 or 4 of them outright at the beginning of the fight. Marquis jumped in front of Lenecthra, challenged her to a duel. Lenecthra started to run past, and thereby Marquis was engaged with the men that were immediately behind Lenecthra when the ambush started. Some fighting went on. I think one more of the guards fell, but in that process, Avon got thrown or pulled off of the ledge, landed on her back, and now has one of the guards standing over the top of her. Luckily, because of Ged's help, her head was not smashed by a large shield. Instead, he's still standing over the top of her, but he's looking around for Ged. And I think we kind of said because Ged's so tiny and these shields are like 6 foot tall in themselves that he hasn't quite located Ged yet. Our other 2 heroes, Marquis was a little bit shaken, but I think she's probably over being slammed against the wall. She had, I think the last thing we saw her do was grab a blade and make an opportunity for Deergrim to attack one of the soldiers.
Yeah.
So anyway, she and Deergrim are engaged with the 2 guards that are closest to Lenecthra. Lenecthra, when she tried to run from the duel, she got caught in another one of Dergrim's traps and got electrocuted and kind of slowed down. Last we saw her, she was like on her hands and knees, kind of panting, trying to get her strength back. Pretty soon, she's going to have at least some strength to be able to start moving down the passageway again. So that's where we find our heroes. And I'm thinking probably the most interesting thing to take a look at first is get an Avon with the one soldier standing over the top of Avon. So he's kind of looking around. Pretty soon he's going to spot you, Ged. What's your guys' plan? How are you going to get out of this?
Ged would like to get some distance from the guard. He can shoot him, although barring that, would probably try bashing him with the gun, with the beam cannon.
Okay.
See if that works.
So are you thinking of like running down the hall and then turning around, or are you kind of just like taking a few steps back and trying to fire your...
It'd be like, taking 10, 15 feet, getting 10, 15 feet back. Just not too far away, but in a better position to shoot somebody with the beam cannon.
Well, if that's your plan, I'll try and distract him a little bit. If he's looking the other way, I think I could plant a boot up into his jodhpurs.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Hold on one second.
See if I could tee him up for you.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay. How does help work if we don't have bonds? Is it probably going to be a defy danger, thinking clever?
I think whatever.
Good question.
Applies, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to follow your lead if I can keep him busy. I think that's probably XP for you.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's
All right.
okay.
So it sounds like you guys are going to simultaneously be turning the key of cunning for Get with this move. Is that the plan?
Sounds good.
Cool.
I guess. I doesn't really feel like... I mean, this isn't being communicated in fiction between the characters, so it doesn't really feel like he's coming up with a specific plan with his allies.
I think I had a good sense that Ged was trying to pull something up, but I didn't know exactly what it was. So, yeah, it's your call.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see how it rolls out in the fiction, and then at the end of session, we'll see if it gets turned.
Sure.
So Avon, you're just kicking him in the crotch. Is that
Yes,
that right?
sir.
Go ahead and give us a... I think since it's with the intent to just distract, let's have a defy danger.
Yeah.
And then,
Cleverness?
Yeah, we could do quick thinking. Yeah, you could roll with intelligence. And then Ged, go ahead and use your gadget belt or field test.
Oh, no. Sorry, buddy. It came up with 3, so even with my bonus, that's 2. It's 5.
Okay. Yikes. All right. Well, let's see what Ged gets, and maybe he'll be able to save you here. Would you get Ged 8 or 9?
That's a 5.
Oh, crap.
It's been nice, guys.
Yeah, the books didn't work for you last time, so trying the boot was better. All right, so this is what's going to happen. So he gets kicked in the crotch, and you guys have noticed these guys, as far as like battle-hardened men go, they're pretty jovial. Like he laughs at this, just like he laughed at you slamming his fingers with the books earlier. He's actually going to pick you up off the ground with his one hand, and he's heard the pitter-patter of feet at this point, so he's got an idea of where Ged is coming from. And just as Ged starts to fire, the shield is moved, and Avon is held in front of him and the beam cannon. Gad, why don't you give us your damage?
And this will be the time when you roll maximum on something.
Well, it doesn't take much either.
Only a 4.
Okay, so that's enough to take you down to 0, isn't it?
That's plenty. Yeah, I drop from his
Oops.
hands.
Okay.
You're also on fire.
Well, let's do it like this, Sean. I'll describe the first little bit of the Black Gate. We're going to cut away to the other 2 players and come back to you.
Mhm.
See, you can describe the rest of the Black Gate, and then we'll have your roll. Okay. Okay. So, wow, we're going to have a character death right at the beginning. Avon or Marquis and Deergrim, you're engaged with these 2. Are they pairing off with you, or are you guys trying to take them on, 2-on-2, or are you trying to split off 1-on-1? Are any of you making a break for Lenecthra?
There's 2 of us. There's 2 of us, 2 of them.
Yep. And the one, I think Deergrim's got a little bit of a blow in on him, and you got a little bit of a stab on his neck earlier.
Yeah.
But he's still functioning quite well.
But I think at this point, I'm just like Marquis is just gonna take him down. She's just like, yeah. I think she's probably think she might have dropped her sword when she fell and she got slammed. So she probably like does like a duck, like picks her sword up and then just comes up and it's just gonna skewer him on her sword. So I think complicated.
Cool. That sounds like your deft. What is it called? Deft technique.
That's right. Yep.
Cool.
Ooh. It's like a 13 or something.
Sweet. Did you take? I know there's some moves that give you more options on 12 plus.
So let's see. On a 10 plus, I get to pick 2 things.
Doesn't look.
And I just get to do some extra damage.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, you'll be able to take 1d4 damage forward or +1 armor forward.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna kill this person.
Okay.
So I'm going to deal plus 1d4 damage. Get roll damage twice, and then I get to Death Technique. I'll deal damage and then move to nearby location. Okay,
Cool.
so damage. So damage.
That means if you don't finish him off, you'll still be open to an attack from him.
Okay.
Okay.
So I got to roll damage twice, I think.
Yep, and then just take the higher of the 2. And I think it's just 1 die. I don't think you get to re-roll the d8 and the d4.
Yeah. I'm not sure why it's erasing it, but I guess it's 9 points of damage.
Cool. Yeah, that's enough to finish him off. Why don't you give us the description, how you finish him off, and then also where you're moving to.
Yeah, I think she's just like I think she just like, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna use I have some hold. I have another option from Def Technique, and I'm gonna use that. So basically, yeah, she scoops her sword off the ground, like stabs him with a knife, and like stabs him with a sword, like through these like just these like chinks in his armor. And then she just like kicks him like off her sword. So he's like falling backwards off her sword. It's like probably a slow-mo scene, right? Like, like a trail of blood. But she like kicks him right into the other guy. And that's the other Def Technique thing. You can maneuver your opponent to nearby location. She maneuvers him right into the other guy, right? Just like slams up against him.
Cool. And then where were you headed to? Because you said you were going to reposition yourself as well, right?
No, that was kind of everything I got there. I think she was just kind of, yeah, that was sort of the end of my...
Cool. I think Brian's doing some technical stuff, so we'll come back to him in a second. I'll start your black gate here, Avon.
Yeah, I'm here. I have the webcam off for a second, but we can do the black gate.
Okay, yeah, just so you can get your technical stuff sorted. All right, so Avon, you see whiteness all around, and it feels like a room, but you can't see like corners or anything. And if you turn around, you'll see standing in front of you, about 9, 10 feet tall, a thin, gaunt figure, dark robes, scythe in his hand, bony fingers, and you hear just a little breath. And as he reaches out his hand, he turns it over, and you see something in his hand. So what's the black gate look like to you as he reaches it out to you?
The black gate in the palm of his hand is about the size of a large marble, and you can see infinity in it, galaxies upon galaxies, the more that you're looking at it. And then it swirls, and some of the blackness comes off of it, and you can see inside just what Avon looks like back in the sewer tunnel, with like this searing chest wound.
Cool. What's your role?
So it happened, didn't it? I was wondering what this place would be like, what you would be like. I came out with a 7.
Okay. All right. So you get offered a deal from death.
Bargain.
Yeah, a bargain.
What kind of death god is this? Is this all things in their right place at the end, or is this a murder of crows who profits from the battlefield? Is this, what kind of god of death is this? Never mind answering me, but
yeah, I haven't really filled out that fiction. If you guys want to, I guess we could probably find out a little bit of that from his deal. Let's open this up to the whole table. I want to hear you guys' ideas. What kinds of things? So it's got to be something maybe a little harsh for Avon, something hard for her to give up to continue living. What ideas do you guys have?
I'm looking back at Avon's keys.
I'm thinking maybe something that would be interesting is to change her spell focus a little bit, make it involved with death somehow.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I could do that. I could go full Morrigan on this.
Opposed using brute force, breaking facade, showing humility. So perhaps it will now be opposed to creating life, or would you think it would be more interesting to be aligned to guiding people to death, since you're already kind of like a trickster and
I was just gonna throw out an idea. I definitely did the magic thing, but maybe also something to do with death wants to see this battle happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
The siege. So perhaps you're doing something to the breakdown of the negotiations had something to do with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, well, maybe death is willing to give back a life on the condition that it'll be paid back with interest, if Avon then has to go and cause a lot of other deaths that they wouldn't necessarily have done otherwise. Would seem amenable to a god of death.
Okay, so how about this? I think those ideas kind of blend together really well. If we have the deal that death offers is something like Avon has to use her magic to ensure that the council will be deadlocked when the armies arrive and force them into a battle, trading her life or their life for as many lives as he can get.
Avon doesn't reply with words. She does is she reaches up and traces around the outside of her face and pulls off the mask, like an ethereal mask from her original spell focus, and then just reaches up to the skeletal face of the Reaper, takes that skull and puts it on top of their own.
Nice.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You probably hear some cackling, and that whiteness fades very quickly, kind of swirls into black, and then you feel the pain again in your chest. Past the side, you hit the wall, and so you're going to be slumped there to the side until you get a little bit of attention from one of your friends. But you are alive. Awesome. Good thinking, guys. That was great. Okay. Let's go to Deergrim. One of the guards just died and was shoved into his friend. You could see out of the corner of your eye Lenecthra starting to move away down the tunnel. Not quickly, but she is starting to move. What are you doing?
So there's still one more guard next to me, though, right?
Yeah. He kind of just got shoved, so he's off balance.
And Marquis is up.
Yep.
I'm gonna tell. I shout at Marquis to make sure Lenecthra doesn't get away. And I'm going to. So the guard that just downed Avon is still there too, right?
Yeah, he's behind you. You may or may not be aware of exactly what happened since you're engaged.
Well, I'm gonna. So the guard that's off balance. I'm going to. I guess I'll really tackle him against the wall to make an opening for Marquis to go after Lenecthra. Probably trying to cause some damage as I do it.
Okay. So it's probably still hack and slash, but we won't have you use your weapon. Sound good?
All right, so that is a 7.
Cool. All right. So go ahead and roll your damage, and he'll deal 8 damage, or a D8 back to you as well.
All right, so I did 4 and he did 5.
Cool. Yeah, so it happens pretty much as you described. You shout out to Marquis and you pin this guy against the wall. Does your armor have like spikes or anything on it at any point, or is it just pretty normal armor?
I think it's been meticulously maintained from the kind of royal armor of his clan. I don't know if it has spikes, but yeah,
Oh.
I'm gonna say it doesn't have spikes.
That's cool. So I think the damage that you deal him, as you kind of pull back a little bit, you see part of his breastplate has been smashed in on one of his arms, and so that's the damage you dealt to him. He probably, these guys are obsessed with swinging their shields. He probably got some kind of a blow in on you as you were tackling him. So let's look back at Ged real quick, because Ged, how are you feeling after having just shot your friend?
Like screaming, which I think is what he does. And where is Avon now? Like slumped against the wall, you said?
Yeah, slumped against one of the walls.
So,
He just cast
no longer in the way.
Absolutely.
Okay, then I think Ged is like just kind of yelling, and he's gonna like unleash the fires of hell on this dude.
Cool. So you're using your beam cannon again?
Yeah.
Give
Yeah.
it
Alright.
another crank and finish the job.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
That's a 10.
All right. Okay, so I gotta double check your rules here. Do you get a bonus on a 10?
When it's using it as a weapon, it's just a normal volley.
Oh, okay.
And that was 7 damage.
Sweet. It doesn't have armor piercing or anything, just the tag fire.
Yeah. No, it does not have armor piercing. Yes, it does just have the tag fiery.
Sorry, I asked 2 questions at once with opposite answers. All right, so yeah, you get it. At first, it just hits his shield, and he's laughing maniacally. But you're like putting double juice in this thing, and it just keeps on beaming, keeps on burning. Pretty soon, he throws his shield aside because it's scalding his arm, holding onto it, and that's when it starts like hitting him too. He's knocked back a little bit, and when the flame beam finally does wear off. Sorry, I'm trying not to watch Brian's camera going like this. He looks worse for wear, and his beard is singed. And as he's realizing his beard is singed, he's livid. He's been working a long time on that guy. Can't believe you would do that to him. All right, let's look back at Marquis. Marquis, you've got the opening now with Daregrim tackling the guy. You just finished off the other guard. You hear Lenecthra's footsteps starting to move away down the tunnel.
Yeah. So she'll take Daregrim's. Daregrim says, go after Lenecthra, and I think they've probably been in a lot of fights together before, and she knows not to like second guess him or even question, and she knows he can take care of himself. So she immediately disengages, and she starts like stalking after Lenecthra. And I think I kind of want to, like she's kind of like stalking her like through the sewers, maybe like listening for sounds, like trying to kind of get a read on like where she's going, and maybe try to anticipate like maybe ambushing her somewhere or cutting her off.
Okay. I could see you rolling several things for this.
Yeah.
I think your resourceful might work because you're sizing her up and her movements. I don't know if that fictionally does what you want. You could also do discern realities, or we could just have it be a roll with your wisdom to stalk prey.
I think based on the results, from between discern realities and resourceful, the resourceful would actually give what I wanted, like with
Cool.
that roll. So
Let's re-roll that then. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna steal one of Avon's dice. Thanks, Avon. Cool. I get a 11.
Sweet.
So, I I think I'm gonna maneuver her into like I think she thought that she was gonna get to the exit, but instead she went to the wrong one, and she ends up in this corner, and there's a grate leading to the outside, but it's closed. And maybe she goes and she shakes it or whatever, she can't get out, so she's cornered. Okay,
Great. Yeah.
Then I think what else do I get? So I got to hold 3. I think I'm just gonna. So I'll spend that one right now, and then want to do that scene.
Yeah. Let's have it. So she gets to the grate. She's kind of shaking it.
Yeah.
She hears you step up behind her. How far away? How close did you get? Are you right over?
I think I'm probably like maybe like 15 feet away.
Okay.
You know, and I'm not like I'm not really like. I'm not hiding my presence. I'm just kind of waiting for her to recognize that I'm standing there with a sword, like my sword and a dagger, dripping blood in my hands.
You've shamed me already. What more do you need? And she's fully standing up, facing you, back against the wall. I think maybe she's got her hands behind her back, trying to see if she can get the grate still, but she's facing you.
Yeah. I say, you lied to me. And I'm like walking forward, like slowly towards her.
Lying's what you do on any state. You never talk about the people you've been with before, and if they ask, you just say, "No, you're my first." And you never tell them about your parents. God, no.
So I think that like as she's saying that, I think that Marquis is gonna I think she'll say like enough of your pretty words, and she's gonna lunge forward, and she's just gonna try and stab her with her sword.
Okay. So Lenectra is still quick enough. She's going to be able to get a blade to try and block you. I think this is going to turn into, unless resourceful just makes you or allows you to do that outright. No. You can try to distract her and impede her with this.
No, I think I'm gonna go. No, yeah, I got those 2, and I'll look for a chance to use them, but not yet.
Okay. Yeah, so this is going to be def technique. She's definitely not unprepared.
Okay. So def technique is dex. So 9 plus 2, 11. I think you evade your opponent's clumsy blows. You take no damage, and you strike true, deal your damage.
Okay. And you can take plus D4 to your next roll, or plus 1 armor for. Which do you want?
I will do my plus D4.
Cool.
So I'm gonna roll. Here's my D4. So it's a 2. And then, so for damage, I roll a D8 twice. Is that right?
Yep, and take the highest.
Maybe I'll pick these two D8s. I finally figured out how to use roll for your party, and I'm like super excited.
It's great, isn't it?
It is. Okay, so 3 and 7. So 7 plus 2, 9 points of damage.
Sweet. So I'll let you get a blow in that's going to maybe disable one of her arms, or make it hard for her to like maneuver. Like you can get her leg. Why don't you give us the fiction of what it really looks like, though?
Yeah, I think like I go in, and did she have a weapon in one of her hands?
Yeah,
Is that clear yet?
able to get her parrying dagger out, so maybe she blocks a little bit, but
yeah. So she blocks one, and I think I just like give her like a wound like right through the side. I just slash her side, and then she comes back with a knife, and I just kind of like rock back, and the knife just passes in front of me, but like very clearly like I was in control of that particular exchange though. And then which I'm going to spend one of my hold from resourceful.
cool.
And I'm just gonna like, I think I'll just use like my knife, and I'll engage her knife, and I'm just gonna just disarm her, right?
Oh, sweet. So
So it takes something from the target. It causes it to drop something. So it causes her to drop her parrying dagger.
beautiful. Let's cut from you back to the other folks and see what's happening. All right. So both Alex and Deergrim, your guys are looking rough but not dead. Avon, maybe you're starting to come to where you could start seeing fuzzy shapes and stuff. If you want to add to this, feel free, but I'm probably not going to call on you to make a specific action. Does that sound good, Avon? Okay.
I'm busy tucking my ribs back into my shirt.
Yeah. All right, Deergrim, let's take a look at you. So you just slammed, and you're kind of grappling with this guy. He's going to start grabbing at your around you and at your belt, and he's trying to pull you up and make some kind of an attack with that. What do you do?
Kick his ass, Deergrim.
Can I spend three gambit for my? I have one of the things I can do. It says create an obstacle or distraction that a single enemy has to deal with before they can do anything else.
Sure.
So what I'm thinking is, as we are, I'm holding against the wall, and as we're kind of grappling there, I basically I think I'm gonna just try to if there's some kind of metal grate in the wall or something where water would have flown through,
Sure.
do something where I'm maybe trapping him against that somehow. I'm trying to think what a good way fictionally would make sense.
Well, maybe this. So you just slammed him up against the wall, right? And maybe one of these grates right there, and you can kind of open it.
Mm-hmm.
Get his arm, his shoulder, something stuck in it.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you're going for?
Yeah, I'll get him stuck in it, and then I like slam it with my hammer to try kind of wedge it in place so he's stuck there for a moment, and then my goal is to basically tie him up for a moment so that I can turn my attention to see how Ged and Avon are doing.
Okay, cool. So yeah, with that quick maneuvering, let's say his stupid, ridiculously huge pauldron is what gets jammed in there, and he's stuck really good. If you take a step back from him, he's dropped his spear, so he doesn't have much of a reach, even with his shield. And you'll be able to go and aid Ged if that's what you're interested in doing.
I guess I'll look over to Ged. How's Ged doing?
Ged is shaken up by killing or almost killing Avon. But I mean, he's in a fairly good position fight-wise. The guard is looking pretty crispy, and Ged is at an appropriate range with the cannon aimed at him.
Yeah. So what are you wanting to do there?
I think Ged says, sort of holding the beam cannon up, he says, go. You don't need to die today.
I think that would do it. I really do. He's standing, he looks down, he's standing on top of the corpse of 4 burnt and bludgeoned men that were his friends. And he sheathes his sword and he just starts running. Now, Deergrim, you're in his way. Are you going to let this fly?
Yeah, I'm not going to attack him as he runs by. And I'll look over at his friend that's stuck there, and I'll kind of hold my hammer up to him and ask him, "You want to go with your friend, or join those ones?" And I'll point down at the burned horses.
Please, please, let me go. Let me go.
I tell him to throw his sword on the ground.
Yeah, he does so. He'll even cast his shield down.
Okay. So I'll kind of kick those a little ways away from him, and then I'll give him some distance if he wants to run.
Cool. Yeah, he catches up to his buddy pretty quick, and they start running. Let's go back to Lenectra and Marquis.
I think Gagron would probably start rushing over towards.
Oh, you're going to start heading that way?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll have you roll if we need to in a minute, because I don't think it wasn't terribly clear, but it wasn't like she didn't corner her immediately. I think it took a few minutes, so you may have to find them.
That was kind of my understanding.
But we'll see how this shakes down, and then if your help is needed, we'll have you roll to get there.
This is only shaking down one way. I mean, I can roll if you want me to, but...
All right, so she's you've just knocked the blade, the dagger out of her hand. She takes a half a step back. She's almost back against the wall still, and she draws her rapier, and she says, "Marquis, it doesn't have to go this way. You don't have to die. I don't have to die. We can help each other."
Marquis is like just straight up like rage. She feels like super betrayed by her, and she's like, she just repeats it. I think she's like, "You lied to me." She just says it again, and she goes after her.
Cool. Probably just another definite peak then, right?
10.
Cool.
So, and I still have one more resourceful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead and do this actually first. I will roll. So let's see. Def technique on a 10 plus. I think I'll evade her blows again.
Okay.
And yeah, I think same. Strike. Yeah. Yep. Same. Exact same. So.
Okay.
That's got 2. And couple d8s. So 10 points of damage.
Cool. You got a 10 plus again?
Yeah. Got a 10. Yeah.
Yeah, because you got 2 options. Sorry. All right. Do you mind if I take the fiction here?
Yeah, I do have one thing though. If she's gonna die, then let me know.
Yeah, she's not gonna die. I'm gonna put you in a position to do that though. All right, so
I do have a move that if I drop somebody if I kill them, I have a quarter. I take the quarter move.
Okay.
Which lets me choose to reduce them to 1 hit point. But go ahead though.
Yeah, we can. You're only like 2 or 3 hit points away from finishing her, so we can say that you did. All right, so this is how it goes. This looks prettier than the last time because you just knocked that blade out and jabbed her in the side. You guys go back and forth, up the walls a little bit, chasing each other around. But each time Lenectra turns to swipe at you, you've got the advantage, and you've got the step on her every time. whether you duck underneath or, just that little flick, because it doesn't take much to knock her blade out of the air. One of these times you get the advantage and you cut her in the back of her leg, right above the boot, and she gets down on one knee as she parries your blow. I think you're like slam, and on the third time, the blade falls out of her hand. The glow that it had on it falls, and you're standing over her with your blade about to fall on her. Do you want to kill her, or do you want to put her at 1 HP?
Yeah, so I think like Marquis like takes a deep breath, right, and she raises her sword above her head, and like we see like her jaw is like clenching, and we just see like this blood rage in her eyes, and we've seen that before. And she looks down at Lenecthra and tell me if you think. Well, okay, so I know that I know, Sean, you said you wanted to bring her back to like and sort of haul her out into. No, you're good.
I'm not
Okay.
firmly committed to how alive she is when that happens, or if it happens at all.
I was
It
actually,
just an idea.
thinking I would let her go at this point.
Sure. Hey, I'm nowhere nearby, and I won't be hurt as a person or a player.
Well, I think what would happen then, and Spencer, you can let me know if this is cool, is I think maybe we would like cut there, like we wouldn't see exactly how it went down, but the next thing we would see would be Marquis like returning to everybody else, and Marquis is like, she got away. Right. So right. Clearly, and kind of like lying to our friends, like she managed to get away somehow, right?
Okay, so table knowledge, you let her go.
Yes.
But player knowledge, let's have the scene of Ged and Avon, and then we'll have the scene of Deergrim bumping into you.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so Avon, you're finally to your senses. Ged, you're there.
Yeah.
I'll let you bring it up from there, Ged.
I rush over with I have some bandages. I'll like bandage her abdomen. I'll be like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to, I'm so sorry. Like that.
I hold a hand across my chest and just, it's okay. Did we get her?
She got away, I think. Another day.
That's a cool gun.
Yeah, thanks.
I just kind of grab Ged by the shoulder and like haul myself up with him.
Ged is very short, so like him sort of half carrying you back is gonna look very awkward, but I love it.
Some leverage to get to a knee, and then from there I think I can take it. But.
Okay. And you get bandages give 4 HP back if you have a few minutes to use them, so.
Yeah, you guys will have plenty of time, so as many bandages as you feel like using, go ahead.
Okay, I'll take it.
Just the one.
Just one for now. Cool.
They're my bandages.
So that'll let's have that put Avon at 5 HP then.
Yep.
I mean, she was alive, right? Cool. Deergrim and Marquis, do either of you have a good idea for what this looks like when you meet up? Who wants to frame it?
So I think Deergrim is kind of huffing and puffing, running down the tunnels. It's not that fast. And he's in heavy armor, so he's like out of breath, trying to catch up. And he runs into Marquis, who's maybe just sort of casually walking back, and just kind of bends over, like panting. He's like, "Did you get her?"
She was too fast. She got away.
Too fast.
Yeah.
What are you useful for?
Look, I said she was too fast. I don't see why we're arguing about this. She's gone.
You're
I think
supposed to be the fast one.
Yeah, maybe Marquis is getting a little bit red-faced. And I think I don't know, like, if Derek would necessarily pick up on this, but I think, like, anybody, like, he probably knows her well enough. Like, she's not, like, really, she's not a great, like, liar, right? Like, but she's also, like, super stubborn. So she's like, she was too fast. I said she was too fast. She got away. How are the others? Avon looked bad.
Well, let's hope Avon's okay, or would have died for nothing, thanks to you. And he starts walking back.
I think Ged and Avon probably make their way to Dergrim and Marquis at around that point.
Cool.
Can I do one thing with Avon, actually? Maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know if it would happen right now in the sewers, but pretty shortly after this. I think Marquis would sort of, she'd see Avon and she saw like that hit that Avon took, and it was like a gnarly hit, right? I mean, like Avon got blasted. And I think like Marquis would like, maybe Avon be walking by, Marquis would kind of grab her by the arm, like not super like hard, but like hold her, and she would like kind of like try to catch Avon's eyes and like look into her eyes. And like, I don't know, like what would she see there?
I've just updated the sheet with the same thought I think that you might have had. That Avon's eyes are just hollow now. The pupils are just black inside. The irises around them are like a dull grayish green. And she's looking right through you.
Cool.
But she smiles.
Yeah. I think Marquis would like, she would definitely be like kind of unsettled, but she'd be like, you know, you all right? Like that was a pretty serious hit you took back there.
I got back up.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you did. Maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought, as it looked.
Ged's toys are very effective.
Yeah, they are. I think Marquis like lets go. And like kind of she's looking at Avon, takes one step back, and then I think she'll like maybe kind of start to move away.
Should I say something mean, or is that not what you're looking for?
Yeah, that would be normal. No like snide comments, anything.
You let her get away. Why?
That's better.
I pat you on the arm. I'm fine.
Yeah. Okay. Marquis doesn't say this, but yeah, that was super unsettling.
Cool. I think we've got a scene there. All right. So we've got a little less than 2 weeks time. Or am I doing my math wrong? We've got, a little less than 2 weeks time before the army's supposed to get here. We'll hand wave the rest of your dungeon crawl here. I think you guys are going to be able to find the exit. You guys are going to be able to find the exit for sure, and Ged probably even takes the time to map out, and maybe with Avon's help, you guys mark the walls like arrow here, arrow here. This is the fastest way into the city to do the assault and stuff.
All of the marks were the sacred hand.
Nice.
And then an arrow below it.
Ged's heart really isn't in it.
Are you still feeling guilty?
I think that was the first time he had used the pyromatic beam cannon, and he didn't expect it to be quite so horrifyingly effective, and he's upset and disturbed by that. And I think over the next 2 weeks he actually breaks it down and probably goes back to the good old steam explosion glove.
Cool.
Well, Avon comes in sometime when you're in the workshop and just looks over your shoulder. Well, you took it apart. Well, but you built your glove.
It's a little hard to control, so... Thought I killed you.
You did, but only a little bit.
Oh. Okay.
If it's any consolation, when you die, it's not just blackness. There's someone waiting for you at the gates. He just checked in and said that it wasn't my time yet, so you're totally off the hook.
Okay.
That
good.
was supposed to make you feel better. I'm sorry, Ged.
No, it's fine. The death thing is weird, but you know, people see all sorts of things when they nearly die, right?
Science.
Yeah. You know me.
Hey, you're the one who can turn into a ghost.
I'm not actually turning into a ghost. I'm reversing my ectoplasmic polarity.
Ghost. So you were square. It's all good. I only did it once.
All right.
I don't plan on doing it again.
What are you up to now?
Just waiting to hear from Ishtar. Waiting to hear when the Pale Horde will arrive. If there's any final steps or if our job's done.
Yeah. I think I'm done with this mission, personally.
Been good working with you.
Well, I didn't say I was going to be leaving. I just meant this specific mission.
Oh, okay.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I gotta keep pressure on this thing while putting it together, or it'll explode. So, kind of need to concentrate.
I'll leave you to it then.
All right. See you later, Avon.
Awesome. So Avon, are you the one who's going to contact Ishtar, or are you hoping he contacts you? Because you were able to work the mirror last time.
I guess, yeah. I'll wait till a couple people are around, so it's not just... Or maybe it is. I'm not sure. If anyone wants to be there, I'll wait for them. But I'll reach out and let Ishtar know that we've mapped a course through the underground and where it comes up outside the walls.
Cool. Do you want to role play it, or do you want to just say that you got the message to him?
If anyone else is jumping in, then we can have the chat. Otherwise, I let Ishtar know, and that's it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think the gist of his reply would be like, "Well done, great job. We had some other ways that we were working on that avenue, but you having mapped it and secured it, it'll just make it easier for them to aid us as well." So Avon, you were sent with a mission from Death that you get the feeling if you do not accomplish, he could claim you any moment. So how are you planning on making sure that the city doesn't capitulate?
If you shake a tree in the spring, you get nothing. If you shake it in the autumn, fruit falls everywhere. The key is timing. When the Pale Horde arrives, that's the time to tip the scales.
I'm thinking maybe a cool scene would be the generals from both the Horde and the cohort meeting with some of the leaders from the city. Maybe they meet like out in front in a big tent or something. Would you like to participate in that and make sure it goes the way you want it to go?
Yeah. Is the leader of the Horde going to be there?
Yeah, Chaka Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would be there.
That sounds cool.
Cool.
So wait, so would we be able to be at that meeting in general?
Yeah, we'll say that you found a way. Whether you guys went out through the tunnels and you guys got let in by yeah, you can be there however you want to say you're there. That's fine.
So this is
Okay.
2 weeks later after the horde has arrived. So the horde is like outside the walls.
Yeah. So the horde has made up camp as well as the. You know what? Let me pull up the map. I'll kind of describe to you the layout here.
Oh, the map. Cool.
The map.
Could I make for the 2 weeks up until this point? Could I make a bolster roll of like preparing for? I think Dirgrim sort of being the tactician battle master is thinking about, hopefully this goes well, but if it doesn't go well, let's have a plan B, and some way of trying to prevent a bloodshed.
Yeah. So bolster, I don't even think you have to roll for. It's just you've got about 2 weeks. If you can look up, I think that gives you 2 hold, but just to double check me there.
Okay, I'll look it up.
And you guys are all welcome to spend your time bolstering if you'd like.
Bolstering, that's a standard Dungeon World thing?
Yeah, so basically when you have downtime and you're preparing for something specific, you get a couple of hold to spend when the time comes. It's
okay, that's right. You talked about that.
I think we just get 1. It says a week or more you get 1, a month or more you get 3.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I'm seeing.
Okay.
I think
So each of you take 1.
Now, are those for something specific? Like we had to say sort of what we were, or at least know what we were doing?
We didn't really do it before, but we'll do it moving forward. So like we'll have a little flashback. So like if you're firing an arrow and you use your hold to make sure that arrow hits, maybe you flash back and you describe shooting arrows off a ledge or apples off a ledge or something,
And is there a spot on the character sheet for hold or not?
I just read it at the bottom.
There's one, yeah.
Oh, maybe there is.
You can put it at the bottom. You can put it as part of your gear, wherever you feel like.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, let's look at the map here. So the tunnel that you guys found kind of goes under here and pops up here-ish, like just off the map a little ways. And so that's the way in. And it's got, like you guys know this, it's got several outlets around the various parts of New Vareg. The Pale Moon Horde is going to set up on this part of the map, and they will be in charge of any assault that happens on this wall and the gate. The cohort will be camping here and will be in charge of any assault on this gate and this section of the wall. The cohort is also in charge over here, but the plan is to just use that as containment to make sure that no sallying force comes around and hits us in the flank. So that's kind of the siege plan.
Is it still a secret to the people in town that the cohort has basically betrayed them all?
That is a good point. You guys probably should not be wearing your cloaks around town at all. Good thinking.
It's become clear that the cohort has rolled up outside at the same time as the Pale.
Yeah.
We're also hated by the Masons Guild, and we killed the Watch Guard at some point. So.
Yeah. So maybe it's better that you guys don't go back to Tun Vareg. I don't know. Let's do this tent kind of diplomacy scene, and then all of you can be present. And if you want to help Avon, or if you want to, because your characters may not know their plan, if you want to hinder Avon, that might be interesting too.
Avon hasn't told us anything, right? I mean, maybe we pick up on Avon being a little bit different, but
Nope, nothing outright.
All right. Oh, stop screen sharing. There we go. Okay, so a large yurt, a huge, probably one of the largest tents you guys have ever seen, is set up out of arrow shot of both the camps and the walls, and in it, the emissaries from each of the 12 ruling houses or ruling guilds are there. A group of men from the cohort, including you guys, have been invited and are there. And Chaka Khan and some of his larger, more gross-looking orcs are also there. I'll remind you guys also, under people and places, if you kind of want to look there, there's just general information about some of the characters that you guys haven't met yet.
Got it.
So Legatus Quirinius Lucertus, who is the general of the cohort. You guys would recognize him. He's a lizard man. He's got like yellow or white spikes kind of going down his neck. Scribius Octavo will be there as well. He's a plump black. He's the head scribe for the cohort. He's the one who pays you guys. So everybody's nice to Octavo. Ishtar. What do you think, Avon? Would it be more or less interesting for Ishtar to be there? Because he may catch on to what you're doing.
I was going to say less. If it was going to be a private meeting, like a small group, then he'd probably be there. But this is probably too public for him.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. He's not a big fan of the fanfare and stuff, and there's plenty of that going on. Okay, so we'll leave him out. Tanume is definitely there, and he's the one leading the 12 men from, well, the 12 representatives from Tun Vareg. And so the meeting opens, a lot of fanfare, especially from the Pale Moon. They have a drum ceremony, followed by a flag ceremony, followed by fire dancers. You know, they drag this out. Maybe you guys think because if people get bored and tired, they'll just say, yeah, whatever you want. And then finally, the discussion begins, and it's kind of a split vote from Tun Vareg. There's definitely people who are speaking up from a few of the guilds saying, no, we're going to fight you guys to the end. But it is leaning towards we'd rather pay tribute, and they're trying to discuss like the amounts of tributes and such. And Chaka Khan is speaking up, and he's saying, we have run these deals with many, many principalities. Always good. Always good for you. Always good for us. We have great might, power, things you need. Your enemies come, we get rid of them. Nobody comes, you happy. So, Avon, where are you trying to insert yourself?
I'm near the heavy skin wall of the tent, standing near the cohort on the side closer to where the representatives of the 12 houses are. Paying particular attention to the ones who would defend the city, watching all of their hands, watching their scabbards, and then casting a spell. They, let's see how that goes. Would you like me to describe what I'd like to do with the spell, or?
Yeah, let's hear what kind of effect you're trying to get, and that'll help.
Sure. The militant ones, they notice their swords all rattling around in their scabbards a little bit, but not quick enough to grab them as they fly out towards the ones who would sell the city out.
Ooh. So you're trying to kind of frame them as assassins. I like it.
And levitate and move their swords and...
Cool.
If Get is able to see what's going on. I'd like to interfere, I think, by knocking Avon over with the steam glove.
Okay. I think that'll be a roll for interfere with your. Is that wisdom? I think probably wisdom to catch on to what's happening in the situation. So let's get both those rolls on the table. So Avon, roll your cast a spell, and get interfere with wisdom.
Double sixes.
Oh,
My wisdom sucks, but
I got to an 8.
okay. I've got to double check how much. I've never seen interfere actually roll. I've got to double check how much that knocks your roll down. A -2.
Oh, buddy.
Okay, so that'll knock you down to a 6.
So the spell fails initially.
I think so. I don't know if Dergrim understood what Ged was trying to do. He probably just saw Ged steam glove Avon, and is probably gonna try to restrain Ged for fear of provoking these orcs.
And
Okay.
for the boss, on a miss, something's gone horribly wrong. Your spell might well have worked, but you will regret casting it.
All right, so just to clarify, you have your one hold. You could make this a 7. Do you want to or no?
Yes, I want it to work somewhat.
Okay.
I'll spend the hold on that.
Okay. And then I get to pick 2.
Sean, what did you do? I was gone for like 1 minute, and I come back, and spells are flying.
I lifted the leaders of the 12 houses who wanted to defend the city. I lifted their swords and kind of forced their hand, pointing those swords at the backs of the ones who would sell out Tun Vareg.
Okay, here we go. So I'm going to have it affect much more than you had intended, and it's also going to draw unwanted attention on you. So this is how I see it playing out. So you start casting your spell, Ged catches on to that you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing. And Ged, are you trying to stay subtle with the steam cannon? Is that what it...
it's not an especially subtle tool.
Okay, okay.
It sort of depends where Avon is in relation to everybody. I think it's quick enough that he doesn't really have time to think too hard about how discreet it is.
Okay.
He has been kind of weirded out by Avon the past couple weeks, and now seeing her doing some sketchy magic, it's just a immediate no.
So I think it would be cool if maybe you were like slightly behind her, slightly behind them, and so you steam blast, and Avon kind of falls forward, and maybe you had some magical components and they like shatter on the ground, and these swords start flying out of their scabbards, not only from the 3 that you had targeted, but also weapons start flying out of the hands of the Pale Moon hordes. And these weapons just like hurtle themselves all over the room. And there's dead and wounded on every side from these weapons flying through the air. I think that Lacertus, your general, sees that you are the one who started all this mayhem. And he's got his eyes trained on you and starts walking towards you a battle starts breaking out in the middle of this diplomatic meeting. Now, Deargrim, you said you were doing something with Ged, so right after he speaks.
I think since it sounds like that all kind of happened simultaneously.
Yeah.
I think he'd rather than restraining Ged, he'd be more concerned about getting if there's a fight going on, he's getting into the thick of it.
Okay. Yeah, I think that there's small skirmishes starting. So if you want to start diving in, and if it makes sense to start rolling dice for the battle, we'll do that. I think the next most interesting thing, though, is to see Lacertus and Avon.
Can I announce an intention there?
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't go off, but I think like Marquis would see the Imperator like walking towards Avon, and I think she would kind of like try to get in the way, like no weapons in her hands, but just kind of like Imperator, like, you know, I think she's gonna kind of maybe sort of intercede between the two of them. That's her intention, at least.
Yeah, no, I like that. Let's. I don't think there's much of a role there unless maybe you push back. He's gonna put a hand on your shoulder. He's gonna say, "You've done well, but you've got a bad apple," and kind of like brush you aside and continue walking towards Avon.
Okay, maybe I'll let this. I think Marquis, like, she's torn, right? Like, she follows orders. You know, he's the leader of the group. So I think she's gonna like kind of tag along, and then maybe I'll jump in at some point.
Okay. So he gets right up to you, Avon. He's gonna table knowledge. He's gonna pick you up and start dragging you out of the tent. Are you gonna resist at all?
Over his shoulder, I'm saying, Marquis, you were right. You were right all along. And by way of resisting, I've got a couple of throwing knives tucked into my belts and my robes, and I'm going to try and dig those into the back of his shoulder blades as he's got me held up in the air.
You're attacking Lacertus then?
Yes.
All right. You keep on rolling hack and slash. You know what? So the first of these daggers is definitely going to get into him before he reacts, because he's just kind of like picked you up and is dragging you. So deal your damage. Is there? Yeah. Deal your damage to him.
I rolled a d4 and both of my d6s, and they all came up 4s.
Okay.
What did Avon mean by Marquis was right all along?
You thought that this was a terrible plan, that we should not double-cross the city, that we were hired by the city, and we shouldn't just let a bunch of barbarians in the gates.
Right, yeah. Okay.
That was our initial fight, I think.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, cool. Just checking.
Yeah. All right, so you get one of these into his shoulder, and he lets out a little bit of a cry, but he's a trained soldier. He hides it as well as you can hide a knife going into your shoulder. And he's going to toss you a little ways, not too far, onto the table that was kind of in the middle of the room. He tosses you onto the table, and pointing at you, he says, "Hold your blades! This is the one. We have a snake in our midst." And the battle kind of quiets at that. And he continues with the accusations. He says, "This one's a traitor, a snake. She's paid by me. She works for me. But obviously, she's not doing what I said. I want a peaceful resolution. Don't you?" And he points to the remaining council members. And some of them start shaking their head. And he looks at Chaka Khan, and Chaka says, "Me too." Avon, anybody, what are you guys doing?
So just to clarify, to the council of Tun Vareg, again, and I asked this before, but I didn't fully understand. Is it really clear that the cohort has kind of totally betrayed them?
So it's clear that they're marching with the Pale Moon Horde. And the Pale Moon Horde, like, they're definitely threatening the city, but they keep, like, all the talk to this point, this is the first violent act, this is the first death, anything. All the talk to this point has been, hey, just give us tribute. We're showing you how badass we are. Give us tribute, and we'll be on our way. Does that make sense? Put it in context a little more.
Yeah.
All right. So that's where things stand.
I might be a snake in your midst, and you make it seem like you're paying me. Is the only factor in all of this. Now, when the orcs started paying you, you turned your back on the houses. And when the orcs started paying our neighbors, they started looking for ways to open the gates. I stand with Tun Vareg as I'm hauling myself up to my feet.
Deargrim, I think you're probably close. You were in the thick of the fight, right? You're probably close to Avon. The character gives you the correct order. Silence. Silence her.
Who said that?
Your general, Lacertus. He's ordering you to make Avon shut up.
I think at some point, go ahead and do that. I think at some point Marquis might jump in. So, but go ahead.
I look at Avon and Durham says, "Explain yourself. Why have you done this?"
I think Marquis might step in at that point, actually, unless you got something super hot you want to throw out there.
Go ahead.
I think she just steps forward, and I think she's just like, Avon's right. You know, we turned our back on Tun Vareg, and we broke one of the rules of the cohort, which is you never break your word.
All right, so Taname, who's the head of the council of Tun Vareg, pipes up and he says, "These people come to us, threatening us, insisting that they have control and power that will benefit us. They do not. Tun Vareg will not capitulate. We will stand and fight, because we do not believe that you can even control your own men." And Taname and the council, all their representatives, start marching out of the tent. At the same time, Lacertus and especially Chaka start shouting. You probably don't, none of you speak Orcish, right? Okay, yeah. So Chaka starts yelling, and it just sounds like gobbledygook to you. But pretty soon, you guys, the three of you, are surrounded by big old orcs. Ged, you haven't implicated yourself yet. But I think maybe Scribius kind of gives you a look, like, out of the corner of his eye, and he's like, "You were with them. Are you with them?" Sorry?
Apparently not. I don't want bloodshed.
Okay. Are you guys going to resist these guys? They're going to put you in shackles and take you back to camp.
I mean, like, it's sort of in the fiction here, does resisting mean like we die? I mean, like, are we so outnumbered sort of that realistically there's really nothing we could do at this point?
No, so, I mean, these are definitely going to be some hard guys to fight, but I think fictionally your only option is to flee to the city. If you don't get out of this tent within the next minute, the
Okay.
10-man hitmen are going to be too far away.
Maybe I think there's something else. I think Marquis would be like, first one of you, to cross that line or take one step forward is going to lose his hand. All right, and like her blades are out, and they're down, but they're out, right? And she's dead serious.
Marquis, don't be stupid. This isn't necessary.
Kid, are you with us or against us?
Against, clearly! I am against a war. That's what I'm against, and if that's what you guys want, then can't be with you.
I think Marquis looks over at Avon and Dergrim.
Dergrim, yeah, he pulls out his Warhammer and has his shield out and says, I wasn't fond with making deals with orcs anyway.
She looks at Avon.
Avon's reaching inside her cloak for something. And it goes lobbing across the room towards Ged, but it just spills coins across the floor when it lands. Avon turns to walk out of the tent.
Okay, so you're not like attacking the orcs surrounding you, but you're just going to walk past them?
Yes.
I think like Marquis will like cover their exit. So I mean, clearly like they could grab us, right? But the stakes are going to increase. Like if somebody makes a move, like she will kill the first person. So it's like, who wants to be the first one to die, right?
Yeah.
And if they let us walk out, then I mean that's she's willing to like. Maybe they let us walk out, maybe they don't. But anybody makes the first move, yeah, like they're dead.
Okay.
Dergrim will be kind of maybe almost back to back with Marquis as they back their way out of there.
Okay. Yeah, so I think with Marquis, let's have this go to a roll real quick. So Marquis, go ahead and roll Harley for the orc to let you by. Either the other two of you can roll to aid.
Yes, roll. How do we do aid with no bonds?
Yeah, so we just do it based on like what's fictionally going on. So Avon, if you want to do it with charisma for having thrown the coins down, or Dergrim probably with your constitution or strength because you're kind of looking menacing.
Okay, which one? Constitution or strength? Wait, so who?
Oh, I rolled. Mine are the same. I rolled a 7.
Okay. And I didn't look at your roll yet, Marquis. What did you get?
I have not rolled yet.
Okay.
Okay, so this is charisma. Do I get a bonus from the 7?
Yeah. So you'll add +1 to it.
Okay. 8, 9. I have no charisma bonus. Now I'll go ahead and I'm gonna spend my 1 hold. And I think like, can we flash back? Guys, could this be something that we talked about? Like we sort of discussed this moment? Or is that not like, what do you guys think?
That sounds great.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Like,
I think that makes sense. I think Dergrim's been pretty conflicted about this whole thing going down. So with a couple weeks of like downtime, maybe there's, and especially with Avon kind of whispering in our ears about it.
Yeah. So maybe it's like a flashback to us talking it over.
Yeah, I think this would actually be fun to role play real quick.
Okay.
Can I add maybe why Ged ended up on the other side?
Yeah.
Maybe
Ged, why, Ged? Why?
You exclude him from it because he's got all these intentions for peace, and you didn't want him to get caught and in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, we cut him out of the conversation.
And also, like, I don't think Ged hasn't like flipped really. I mean, he's flipped sides, but he hasn't changed his intentions or his beliefs. He was doing this in the first place because he wanted to facilitate the Pale Moon Horde's peaceful conquest of Tun Vareg to avoid bloodshed from the beginning.
And Avon's Heart of Hearts, they're still with you on this one, too. I'm kind of in the pocket of a higher bidder at the moment.
So Ged might just not be included in that meeting. He'd probably be in his workshop anyway.
So is it flashing to us, and we're like, maybe we shouldn't like tell Ged about this? You know, he wouldn't be down with it.
Could we parallel the original breakfast meeting?
Sounds cool. Why don't you frame it up, Avon, and then the three of you will kind of play it out.
My thought is that we're back in the cohort's hideout having basically the same breakfast, but instead of Ishtar coming in through the mirror, Avon just kind of sulks in and says, like, we can't let them just walk in and take the city.
Yeah, I'm against it too. It just doesn't sit right with me. We're the cohort. We all know the cohort. We always stand by our contracts. We stand by our word.
I know that. Sorry.
I was gonna say it's kind of grim and says, "Will it not be a slaughter?"
If the defenses are capable, then no. All they have to do is show the Horde that it's not worth it to take the city.
I think Marquis takes a totally different tact. I think she's like, if it's a slaughter, it's not on us. At least our honor will be intact.
Wait, sorry, is Ged in this or not? I wasn't clear on whether we decided on that or not.
I think we framed it up as Ged not being in it, but
Okay.
I feel like if there's something, if you feel like there'd be, this is a good opportunity to come in, or
Marquis
to be there.
Marquis stormed out of the first one, and you said Ged ended up back in his workshop for most of that period of time. That might work.
I mean, I can stay out of the scene, or I can come in and argue.
Yeah, come in. Argue.
What do you think it would take to convince the Pale Horde that it's not worth it? If not, lives.
Oh,
Got no problem taking orc lives.
and
Me
if
either.
someone were to rain fire down upon them from the walls with gloves, I mean, that's one angle that they could take.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
I doubt raining fire down on Chaka Khan would bother him much. I think he'll just send more in. He prides himself as a conqueror by diplomacy. If you could convince him that he had won diplomatically, maybe you could convince him to leave.
That's what I mean. Like, cities get conquered all the time. Believe me, I know. But it doesn't... More people don't have to die.
I think we've pretty much hit our quota for that this week. And Avon pushes her plate away and stands up and walks out of the room.
I'm kind of wondering, like, this is out of character, but like, what if the whole thing was a plan? Like, the whole us fighting amongst ourselves in front of the orcs, and like them turning on us, and then us leaving, and then Ged staying there, the diplomatic staying one there. Like maybe that was something that we had somehow worked out. I don't know, like maybe we painted ourselves as the bad guys, and then Ged seals the diplomatic solution, sort of in the end. I don't know.
If your plan can leverage me as a scapegoat, go for it, because that's about where we're going to be cutting back from the flashback, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, well, it's not just that too, right? I mean, we're all like all three of us are basically surrounded by this horde of like angry orcs and trying to back out of there alive. And Ged's the only one who's kind of neutral at this point, right? I mean, do I have any idea what the plan would actually be? No, I have no idea. But
You know, I think let's play to see what happens from there. So you guys are going to be able to get out. Your parlay roll is going to work because of this planning in the back.
yeah. So it's a 10 plus. Yeah.
So Ged, I think it kind of falls to you. Do you want to attempt making this a diplomatic solution? One party's walked from the table. So if you want to attempt it, the stage is yours, and you can throw those three under the bus as much as you need to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it a shot. Charisma's my worst stat, but I'll give it a shot. I mean, I think I'd just be... I mean, is Chaka Khan still here?
Yeah, all the players except the council from Tun Vareg are here.
Okay. Can't we just stop this?
It's Lacertus is going to say to you, "It's too late, little one. With them walking away, we've got no choice but to lay siege to capture the city."
It's not too late. You could leave. This city sucks anyway. You don't need to take it.
I'll remind you, Private, that I provide the gold that makes those trinkets of yours. And I get the gold from dealing with honorable people, such as Chaka Khan.
Buddy, I can get gold from a lot of places. This is idiotic and needs to stop.
Perhaps a night in the stocks might change your mind.
Don't think so, no.
As long as the Honorable Chaka Khan is paying me to lay siege to a city, I will lay siege to a city. You may choose to assist, you may choose to defect, but one of those choices ends with you living, and one ends with you dead. Sergeant, come take hold of the gnome.
And at this point, I would like to pull the trigger on something that I've been thinking about doing ever since Avon cast that first spell and started the fighting popping off in the first place, which is Ged sort of tinkering with his magnetic belt in an attempt to overclock it, basically, and create like a massive magnetic shockwave that'll destroy the belt, or but knock anything metal away.
Okay, so you're kind of like neutralizing everybody around you, so you have a chance to escape.
The original idea is it would, disarm everybody by knocking their weapons out of their hands, but if they're wearing metal armor, they would be knocked over.
Yeah, I think anybody in this tent would be wearing like full battle gear. So yeah,
I have a jury rig move. When you quickly fix, repurpose, or fabricate a device on the spot, describe what you're doing with it, and roll int. And I can do that right now.
Beautiful. Let's see it.
That's an 11.
All right.
On a 10 plus, it'll hold together just as long as you need it to.
So You know what? You just describe. Let's hear how this works. So the sergeant of your typical unit starts marching towards you to seize you and bind you. What does this look like?
Ged says, "That's how it's gonna be," and he like turns the thing on his belt, and just there's like the shockwave isn't visible, but you can see its effects. What everything metal in uh, not like huge radius, but large enough to encompass the room. Uh, just goes flying in the opposite direction from Ged, who will then turn on his ectoplasmic reversal suit and get out of there, I guess.
Cool. So you go through one of the tent. You probably go through the tent flap too. You could have just walked through, but why not?
Well, maybe I'll go through the back of the tent. That way it would take them longer to get around to me.
There you go. Cool. Yeah. However you want to describe it, you definitely will get away with that jury rig roll. That sounds great. Are you reuniting with the rest of the crew then?
Where are they at this point? They walked out?
We haven't exactly. We said they had left the tent, but I think that's as far as we got.
I guess I'll see what they're up to. I don't know if reuniting is the right word.
I like the three of us are just walking away, and then we hear this like bang, and the people just go flying out of the tent in every direction, and then Ged walks out.
What happened to diplomacy?
Diplomacy failed when you guys did what you do.
Oh, well. At least we're back together again. Ricky slaps Ged on the back.
Awesome. Let's take I know we kind of ran long with the break, so let's take a quick 5-minute break. We'll come back and decide. We probably only have time for like one more thing. So if we want to do like kind of an extended, what do you call it? Epilogues. That's cool. If you guys want to play out 1 or 2 more scenes during the siege, we may be able to swing that. But let's take 5. I'm really happy that Avon died and got this deal. This makes it really, really fun.
Yeah, this went places I did not expect, which, I mean, is what is fun about this game. It was just, it did that very well.
Yeah, that kind of caught me off guard a whole lot, too.
Yeah. Well, and I love, too, the, what did you name? You just reskinned the dragon, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was really cleverly named, cutting through with blades. I like it. Okay, so
what was that? What was reskinned?
He suggested switching my magic school focus.
Mm-hmm.
So I grabbed one of the existing ones, but instead of the dragon as the focus, I just called it the Black Gates.
Okay.
And the dragon burns things, but the Reaper doesn't burn things.
Yeah, that's cool.
Reaper's a shepherd.
Yeah, it was actually kind of sweet. I mean, he just held his hand out. All right, well, while we wait for Tor, let's kind of start talking about what you guys want to see with the time constraint in mind. What kinds of scenes do you want to see, or do you guys want to just do extended that thing? Epilogues.
I think either way could be interesting. If I had a couple ideas. I kind of wanted to. I might wait till Tor's back to bounce them off all you guys. But do you guys have thoughts on, I guess, the general whether it's playing scenes or more of an epilogue kind of format?
No specific preference. I mean, I think either way, this is pretty much it for Ged. I think he's out.
So I guess two thoughts. One, our cohort office. I think we did establish that the Diagram was aware of the that like safe room, or like that had like the all the stuff in it, equipment and whatnot. At this point, it's kind of like may as well see what's in there, see if there's anything useful. And then the other thought was trying to avoid. I mean, there's probably going to be bloodshed, but trying to avoid the just slaughter of all the innocents in this town. To trying to turn the tide of battle. So my thought was to go to the cohort that's encamped on the kind of that peninsula, and see if I can appeal to them. You know, basically appeal to their honor and turn them to back the city.
And at least let refugees out. Is that the idea?
Yeah. I think maybe we get we evacuate the city. Something. Yeah. I feel like there's probably going to be cohort members that die here, but I'm trying to minimize the number of civilians.
Tor, Sean, any thoughts on that?
I think that's a great idea. I think that Avon doesn't make it through this siege alive, and that she'll end up back where she started this second leg of their journey.
There could be like a moment of, I mean, if we are successful in evacuating everyone, like there could be a moment where you realize like you're maybe not paying the cost that you needed to.
Okay.
Tor, I think you might be. Oh no, you were just sitting so still. I was like, I think you're frozen. So this is kind of what I'm thinking. maybe we have the scene of some or all of you guys trying to convince whoever's in charge of that wing of the army to let refugees through when the siege starts, and then the rest of it sounds kind of like epilogue to me.
I missed that a little bit. I missed the Brian's plan. Was it that we were going to try and convince the cohort or the horde to let some refugees out?
So basically, there's the portion of the cohort that was like on the peninsula that was kind of guarding that bridge.
Yeah.
So my thought was to go to them and kind of appeal to their honor, and try to get safe passage of. I mean, they'd probably be going against their superiors, but maybe just hoping that they would uphold their honor as members of the cohort and turn a blind eye to civilians leaving the city.
Okay, so we're specifically appealing to the cohort and not to the orcs.
Yeah, because I think there was a cohort group that was sort of separate from the main camp.
Yep.
And so it would be going to them. Where I'm hoping there's, the generals are not there and the orcs are not there.
Who's in charge there?
We haven't named that person. We can make a character though. Is that sounds like that's a scene everybody wants to do then?
Cool.
Cool. Let's have it happen at the cover of night. I imagine you guys probably wouldn't be able to just walk up to the camp.
Do we actually have the refugees with us at this point, or is this sort of the setting up meeting?
Oh, and part of the thought was that in case we need leverage was if there's a whole bunch of gold in the cohorts, that safe room, like some of that could be used as leverage in this negotiation.
Yeah, I don't think it's interesting for you guys to try and open the safe and not be able to. So let's say you guys are able to get that out somehow, some way. Doesn't matter. So you guys have several chests of gold nearby. If you guys need them, you can use those as potential leverage. You could probably line your pockets a little bit and still have plenty to bargain with if you guys want to take a few fistfuls yourselves.
Yeah, I'll take some gold.
Cool. I mean, there's lots in there. You take 100, take 120. That's cool. Wouldn't be missed. Cool. So let's, Dear Grim, why don't you frame up the scene for us? Before we do, what do you guys want to name the commander over here? It'll probably be a centurion. So kind of a mid to high tier. And
Caecilius.
Say it again.
Caecilius.
Will you put it in chat? You keep on cutting out just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Okay. And then is this a human or is it some kind of other fantasy race?
Centaur.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a good name for a centaur.
Yeah.
Cool. Dear Grim, frame it up for us.
So I'm thinking that probably word has gone out that this isn't just going to be a shakedown; that there's actually going to be a siege of the city, and so. But this is the, we're maybe going on at night, and the just kind of slip into the camp with we're wearing our Phoenix cohort cloaks, but kind of pulled over our heads, and slip through the camp to where the this captain is, maybe with his sergeants making plans for the siege the next day, and just kind of slip into the commander's tent.
Cool. So I think as he sees, are all four of you going? I assume. Show of hands. Okay. Yeah. As he sees you all come in, he immediately recognizes you, and you may have even rubbed shoulders with him in the past. And he looks at his sergeants and he says, "We're supposed to take these men into custody. Let's hear them out, though. Why would you come here?"
I think Marquis fires back though, right? She's like, "I'd like to see you try and take us into custody."
And his sword's not on his side, but he's got a battle axe. He pats his weapon, which is about 8 feet, and the head is as big as your torso. He says,
"Yeah, it's only good if you're still alive to be able to draw it."
Marquis, we didn't come here to start a fight.
Durgan looks at Marquis and says, "Yes, we're among friends for now." He looks at the centaur and is like, "I've come to appeal to your honor. I've heard of your deeds in battle. I know you to be an honorable warrior, and slaughtering defenseless civilians is below you and below a member of the cohort. We have a contract to protect this city. That used to mean something."
"I have no such orders to slaughter civilians. I'm here to guard our flank. We're not even advancing on the city, if you must know."
Well, you would still be fulfilling your orders of protecting the flank if we were to allow civilians from the city to pass through, would you not?
Perhaps by the letter, but Lucertus, he likes us to think independent, and I don't think that would be an independent thought he would support. If all you're here to do is to beg for the lives of some peasants, you've come to the wrong place, dear Grim. Sad to see you fall this far.
Could we buy the lives of some peasants? And we all know that both Dirgrim and Marquis could cut you down where you stand. That's not the question.
Marquis picks up there's some fruit on a table. She grabs an apple off the table and she starts eating it like one of their apples.
He's going to give the signal. His sergeants are going to leave the tent. And he gets down. I was going to say he sits. I don't know how centaurs sit. He sits. Yeah. He sits like a horse would. He's trying to level with you, dear Grim, but he's still probably a head taller than you. He says, "Gold could do the trick. How much do you have?"
We've emptied out the entire recruiting office's coffers. There's chests of gold.
How many? I don't want to know. I don't want to know how many members you've killed. How about this? If you stick to the coastline, you provide the wagon for the gold, I'll come with you. I'll make sure that the guards are off. I could retire. We could retire on that, guys.
Durgam nods and says, "One last honorable deed before hanging up my shield. Sounds like a deal can live with. And he holds out a hand to the centaur.
Yeah, he'll shake. I have one request from each of you. I notice you all still have pins from the cohort. I'm gonna at least need to take those to pretend like, well, to make it look like I am not just going along with all this.
Ged's the first to toss him the pen.
Give him the pin.
Marquis says no.
And what am I supposed to pull my pin off and say that I took it from you? I can't allow you to leave with a pin and walk out of here in front of my men. The report will get back to the headquarters within an hour.
Marquis says, well, she says, I don't care what you do or what you tell them. I don't care whose pins you take. She says, but I'm still a member of the cohort.
I would like to try to take Marquis' pen and toss it to
Are you going to
Caecilius.
trigger your thing again, or how you?
No, I just want to try to snatch it with my little gnome hands.
You're welcome to make a roll, and Marquis, you're welcome to roll to interfere. I think both would be with dexterity, I think.
How does that work, even? Is that a thing you can do in this game?
Yeah. So he would roll. His roll's the active roll, and then you would interfere. And so if your roll goes off, it'll subtract 2 from whatever he rolls.
Okay.
I got a 7 plus 9, which then I have a hold I could use to bring that up to a 10.
Okay, I got a 7 plus 2, I got a 9. So you
Okay.
have to spend it.
Well, so yeah, you subtract 2 from his roll, but he's still got a mixed result. So he's going to get the pin, but I'll let you kind of say the bad thing that happens.
I don't know. I feel like she's maybe like, I don't know. I think maybe it would be cool as if like she was like maybe sort of going to like face off to square off with the centaur, with Centuria and Caecilius, and like right, like he's like reaching for his axe and she's reaching for her sword, and maybe she like looks down and like Ged is just like taking it. He like just grabbed it without even noticing really, right? And he's like throwing it onto the pile. And I think maybe at that point, like her shoulders just kind of slump in defeat. Right? I don't know if she needs anything like horrific needs to happen here.
Okay. Cool. I like it. All right. Well, I think that's a scene. Unless you guys want to add anything. Cool. So we'll do each of you give a chance to do an epilogue, and this can be during the siege, after like your long-lived life, and then at the end we'll kind of all narrate the escape of the refugee. Sound good?
Good.
I'll give you guys all a moment to think. If any of you have something in mind already, go ahead and fire off. Otherwise, I'll kind of go down the line.
Wait, are we rolling for this or no?
Well, so you guys got what you wanted. He's going to let the refugees through. The epilogue just gives you a chance to say what your character does after. Yeah. So, I mean, don't say that you're going to like kill Chaka Khan, because that's something you'd have to roll for. But yeah.
I got something. So, maybe it's like where do you guys think we would be like in a few days from here, or maybe like a week later or something like that? Like, are we at sea? Like, are we like long ways away? Like, what do you guys think? Anybody?
I don't think.
Yeah, well, so if the Phoenix cohort is widely spread throughout this kingdom, we may have to be making our way out of this kingdom if we want kind of a peaceful new start. Since I'm assuming the superiors of the Phoenix cohort, if either they think we're dead or they know we're alive and they're probably trying to kill us.
Okay. Could we say, all right, so maybe we're kind of fleeing, we're on the road, and Ged is maybe off by himself, maybe working on like one of his contraptions, those crazy contraptions that he has. And we see Marquis approach, and she's got her left hand like resting on the hilt of her sword, and she walks up and she just says, like she's kind of come here to settle up for him, like taking the pin off of her, right? The pin of the cohort. And I think she kind of calls Ged out a little bit. I think she's like, like stand up and like face me.
Nah.
So he's not giving her what she wants, right? Does he even like face off to her, or does he just keep doing whatever he's doing?
He's busy, man.
Yeah.
Concentrating.
All right. So like we can see her, like she's like starting to get like see red, right? And her jaw muscle is starting to work. And she reaches down and her hand like grips her sword, and like the sword like slides a couple inches out of the scabbard. And then like something happens and like some sort of tension like leaves her, and she just laughs. And she's like, you crazy gnome. And she just turns around and she walks away.
Ged starts to say something and then doesn't.
Awesome. Well, Ged, since you were kind of unmiked already, do you want to give your epilogue?
Yeah, I think Ged's doing some soul searching. I imagine he talks to Daregrim actually about what he should do, whether he should even stay with this group, since Daregrim's kind of a leader. I don't know if you want to play that out or what.
Sure.
But I think he, comes up to you at one point and is, says, do I belong here anymore?
Belong where? With the cohort or with us?
Well, I'm definitely not with the cohort. With you guys, I mean.
Well, you've been a great brother in battle. Shown that you're far more dangerous than your size would give off. We would be happy to have you with us.
I think I'd rather not be dangerous, is the thing. And then I think Ged leaves and, he leaves, packs up his stuff and goes off in a different direction.
As you're going, do we see you? Are you on some kind of contraption that you built, or are you just walking away?
I don't think he's quite that extra. I think he's just walking the big pack. Like he probably had to leave a bunch of stuff behind anyway. So he's just got a big pack of what he's got, and it's just leaving and gonna do a lot of thinking.
Cool. Beautiful. Dear Grim, are you ready?
Yeah, so I think it is kind of context for this. So I'd been thinking about Dirgrim as, you know, his clan had been largely wiped out, and I think he was like either a general or some kind of leader, probably a general, and carries with him sort of the guilt of the slaughter of his people. You know, it was probably a tactical decision that. So the story I had in mind was they were, you know, sort of deep in the mountains, and there was some kind of you know, hellish creature that had been unleashed, and sort of for the greater good of the world, they collapsed the tunnels, but it also led to death of most of his clan. So I think leading these civilians out saw that as kind of the redemption he'd been seeking. So he, at least for the time being, just takes some of that gold and probably seeking out a peaceful life, whatever that means. That doesn't know any trade other than war, but you know, is maybe tries to start a tavern somewhere or something like that. And I'm thinking that he maybe you know, befriended this, gained a lot of respect for the centaur Cecilius. And I guess there, if could do a scene if anyone wants, but I think he would sort of invite the rest of the group to join him in this venture.
Yeah, would any of you be interested in running a tavern with him?
I think I think maybe like Marquis would like try it, and then like a weekend she would just like pack up, and she would probably just, she's like really bad at goodbyes, so I think she would just like slip out at night, you know.
Marky, you would make the worst waitress.
Yeah, she would be a bad waitress.
Your potatoes were on time. Just chuck them.
The one who bails during rush.
All right. Well, let's see how Avon fares after the siege.
I noticed I wasn't in any of those scenes, and I think that makes sense. As you're getting all of the commoners that you could onto the boats to evacuate them, I think it became clear to Avon that we needed a distraction on the left flank to draw the attention away from what was going on. So that's their epilogue. Avon wading into a crowd of orcs, and with a cloud of like swords that she's picked up along the way, encircling her and just darting back and forth and stabbing the orcs, and eventually taking an arrow in the side and battle axe on the leg and being knocked down in the middle of the field. The last thing that she does is cast a spell on the pile of bodies around her, and they start climbing over each other. One of them starts gnawing on her leg, and that just starts creeping outwards, so the dead orcs are getting up and trying to bite their former comrades. And she kind of sees the white hallway again, and the black marble comes rolling down, stops at her feet. And she just says, I did what you asked. I did what I could. I'm home now.
Is it warm or cold as you touch the marble?
Warm. Like every supernova that's ever gone.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So I've got two little epilogues I want to do, and especially on this first one, feel free to jump in. So with the siege has started, pounding of the rocks on the buildings, the screams, the shouts, and then we see you guys in the tunnels, specifically in the tunnels that you didn't mark as the quickest way in. And then you start letting out right by the gates of this bribed centurion, and you're single file, through the darkness down the shoreline. And as you get to the picket line, you can see the blazing fire where the watchers are supposed to be. But when you get there, nobody there except for your centaur friend. And he says, well, I was afraid you guys weren't coming. Do you have the gold? And I'm sure somebody pipe in, yes. And then you guys go on your way. The second, probably one before you set up your tavern, Marquis, you guys are still kind of camping in the forest and stuff and trying to find a place to settle down and feel safe. And Marquis, you have a waking dream, a feverish dream, and in it you see sultry lips, and they kiss this bottle, and in the dream, you can smell her again. And then when you wake up, everybody's asleep. There was supposed to be a watch. You swore you had organized a watch, but sitting right in front of your face is a bottle of perfume that smells very, very familiar.
Nice.
Cool. Let's do keys real quick, and then we'll turn off the cameras and we'll kind of debrief the whole run. I really had a great time. Thank you guys.
Yeah, super fun.
Alex, why don't you call out any keys that you turned or bought off, and then if you guys want to track XP in case we ever resurrect these heroes, feel free.
I think definitely, with the help of Marquis, turned the key of the futurist finally. With that, I think at the very least with that last scene, where they didn't fight,
Right.
I guess that didn't cause trouble. There was something else though, I thought.
Well, you just have to disturb or unsettle an established norm.
Oh, true. Yeah. And then I think I had no idea I would, but I think I bought off Key of the Curious, ignore a technological phenomenon you might otherwise have explored, in deciding that the pyromatic beam cannon is too horrible to use, and breaking it down.
Yeah, that's good.
Probably maybe hit Key of the Cunning somewhere in there, but I don't really know, and I'm not going to track XP. So,
do you think that the Curious, that buy-off would have been due to Avon?
Yeah, I think Avon definitely helped turn that, or take it out.
Cool. Dear Grim, how about your keys?
I think I turned Key of the Ringleader. Well, feel like there was a few moments where Durham kind of took the lead.
You did in the beginning when you told Marquis to go after. You said, "I'm going to fight this guy." You go after and stop Lycanthra, whatever her name was.
Yeah. So that's a good example. And Marquis, I guess, was critical for that. Here, the Courageous. Don't think I really necessarily turned that one. I mean, I guess I don't know if mediating a conflict with the Centaur counts for Key of the Judge. Not. I mean, it didn't really lead to a just outcome. Well, I don't know.
You bartered on behalf of the innocents.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I don't know if I mean you guys were all kind of part of that. I don't know if there's one person that was critical for that one. Yeah, I think that's it.
Well, just real quick before we move on, I thought you were trying to turn the Key of the Judge when you let the 2 guards go in the sewers.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
I wondered about that. Anyway, Avon.
I think I bought off Key of the Trickster by laying bare the scheme that had been put in place, and faced the wrath of the truth.
Yeah. Definitely.
Provocateur. I think I roped Marquis into that little standoff inside the tent as well too. I was trying to throw that one out to both Marquis and Dergrim to catch that one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one thing about that would have been if that was something that we had all sort of planned. I mean, you definitely did at the moment, but then we kind of like retconned it, and we're like, "Do we plan that or not?" So,
yeah, I was looking at your Key of the prideful, and I think that you came really close there. A couple places along there when you're just standing up and like, no, you're going to listen to me.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, let's hear Marquis.
yeah. Well, I think Key to Prideful actually, I probably did both. I both turned it, and I think bought it off. I think I bought it off by basically letting the fight with Ged go at the end. So that'd be a point for Ged. Key of the Glorious. I don't think I did either turned it or bought it off. But Key of the...
Do you think you gave up glory by not killing Vectra?
Well, so what I was thinking more there, maybe, but I was thinking more there, that was more when somebody was wrong me, was at my mercy, but I chose to forgive them instead.
Okay, yeah, that fits better.
I think that might sort of trump the I mean, that was sort of my feeling behind that one. So I actually think I'm stoked. Actually, I think I was hoping to be able to buy off a key in this session, and I think I actually was able to buy off 2 keys. So that was totally hit my goals there.
Yeah, I still think you could make the argument that you had the Key of the Glorious bought off. I know it's kind of from the same root, but that scene with Deergrim afterwards, you know, he laid into you and he kept on asking, and you're just like, come on, lay off. And he like flat out insulted you. He was like, I thought you were supposed to be the quick one. What's wrong with your blade? You know, I think you could make the argument to buy off all 3 of those if you wanted.
Yeah. I definitely.
I was gonna say when I thought you were trying to buy that off. Was part of why I was laying into you extra.
Oh, cool. Oh, thank you. Yes, I definitely see you guys' point, but I would say no in that particular situation, just because it was so related to the other one. I didn't really see it as passing up glory in that situation necessarily. I mean, yeah, I see your point.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that's
All
cool. And thanks for providing me with the opportunity by insulting me again and again.
Anytime.
I think you've thrown enough insults out in the game that a couple coming back is fair. All right, I'm going to stop broadcast, and then we'll do our debrief.